Welcome into the Best in Paranormal Podcasting. This is Supernatural News on a Wednesday. I am excited. I am Tim Dennis. And boy, we have got a lot of stories today to cover. And we also have, I'm trying to avoid a word today. I want to play a little social experiment game with you. We'll say it first. We'll say the word together, and then we'll get it out of the way. This is my good buddy, my good friend. This is Beer City Bruiser from Ring of Honor Wrestling.
You got it out.
I got it out. I want to thank first, folks, all the people out there who have been praying and giving good energy to my dad. Who there's a prayer and healing request out there on social media. Sending prayers for my dad. He unfortunately, his cancer is back. He had cancer. It was prostate cancer. And at first we thought it was slow growing. It is not. It is an aggressive cancer. Unfortunately, they did surgery last year to remove that cancer. They thought they got everything from around the margins. Everything was fine at that time. And he wasn't looking good around Thanksgiving. And he went into the doctor, and it's back. It's back. So, but we're on the right track. We're thinking positive, and he's going in for 8 weeks of radiation. And hopefully this will be the end of it, and we'll move forward from there. But I do want to thank everybody for their thoughts and prayers, and keep them coming. His name is Roy Dennis. He's located in White Bear Lake, Minnesota, and we hope that you will just keep him in your thoughts and prayers, and we'll keep moving forward here. And Dad, I love you. And we had a good talk with 2.5 hours, Bruiser, on Sunday. Oh, wow. We were talking through the football game. We were like, oh yeah, by the way, Chiefs are up. Oh yeah, by the way, Bengals are up. But you know what? You put positivity out there, and positivity comes back. I'm a firm believer in that, and I'm going to put all the positive vibes out there for your dad. And from our conversation, he just sounds like a tough SOB. Oh God, is he ever? I get it honestly. I'll tell you, he is one tough guy. That's for sure. I also want to thank Dave, who put up the prayer and healing request. He put it up on his page. We'd been talking over the weekend. I want to let people know that Dave's new show, Paranormal 60, is up and available, not only on the Darkness Radio YouTube page. You'll be able to check it out as well on the Darkness Radio Facebook page and other places as well. It airs on Monday nights for right now. It may air on Mondays and Fridays after everybody kind of gets healthy over there in the Schrader household. So again, keep them in your thoughts and prayers as well, because there's a lot of stuff going on in the Schrader household as well, with illnesses right now and some stuff going on over there. So we'll keep them in our thoughts and prayers as well. Okay, we're going to do a little social experiment today, Bruiser.
All right. Let's experiment.
And it has to do with that name. There's about 7 people out there who have their undies in a bunch.
Really?
They do. They don't realize, for some reason, I keep saying you're a paranormal investigator. You love the paranormal. We keep it paranormal on this paranormal show. At any time, we could go do a wrestling show. And
there's plenty of them out there. There's only so many really good paranormal.
That's right.
Podcasts,
That's right. And we could go do one of those shows at any time, and we could do a damn good one if we wanted to.
Yes.
But we want to do a paranormal show. So here's what we're going to do. So we don't upset the people, Bruiser.
Okay.
We're going to refer to your given profession as underwater needlepoint.
Oh, okay.
Okay?
I like that.
So from here on out, Beer City Bruiser is a professional underwater needlepointer who works for Pool of Honor.
I like the Pool of Honor. It's still an honor instead of Ring of Pool or something. No, Pool of Honor.
It's Pool of Honor. I'll have you know, by the way, that Beer City Bruiser, and by the way, he is still a bruiser because it is rough in the professional sport of underwater needlepoint.
It is.
It is.
You should see my fingers. Oh,
I know. I mean, I mean, they're a little knotted up. I mean,
they're calloused.
They're calloused?
Yeah, knotted up. It's just...
You have to train hard to be an underwater needle pointer.
It's hours and hours and hours upon training. And what people don't realize is with underwater
needle point
mm-hmm. is it's hand-eye, but you also have to learn how to breathe properly.
Oh, of course.
You know, you're underwater. There's all that pressure.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And with the fans, you can't hear the fans. You're underwater. You can't hear them cheer you on. So you just hope that when you're said and done, that your needle point wins the award.
Well, your cardio has got to be insane.
It is. You should see me at the gym. I'm on that treadmill, and I've switched to hand bikes now to get the forearm motion going on, to get the strong forearms so that I can really get in there with that needle point.
I've heard your Knit One Pearl 2 is amazing.
It is. It is one of the best. It won a few awards.
I heard that. I heard the UNI 500. You were actually ranked pretty high this year. The Underwater Needlepoint Illustrated 500. You were up there.
I was 225 in the world. Now that's 500 of the best underwater needle pointers. I was 200 and whatever I just said of that. That's
amazing. That is absolutely amazing. And I want people to realize that it's very viable. There are other underwater needlepoint leagues out there. You have your pick at any time when you're a free agent of going to different underwater needlepoint leagues.
And there's so many new people coming in it because this is a booming industry.
Really
so you have all the new you have the all elite underwater needle pointers that you got to worry about. Mm-hmm. It's all those young kids coming in, and they're bringing all that athleticism into the needle pointing.
They make the flashy splashes into the pool. They're kind of
my gosh, I saw a guy once do a double, triple flip while doing an over under knot into a button hook. It was blew my mind. Blew my mind. Back in my day, Tim, it was
no, you got to the bottom of the pool and you got to work.
I did. That's what I thought it was about. But now I'm finding out, no, I got to add some flash, some pizzazz. I've switched up my swim trunks. I went to Speedos. Mm-hmm. So
I was going to say, you look pretty good. Yeah. Pretty good in those Speedos.
Thank you. Yep, I added that. I've switched to different type of needles. I found that I can work better with. So it's more high tech, and the thread. It's all about the thread.
And really, it's about the kind of work you do too. I'm finding your shawls and your sweaters are quite creative.
I'm actually starting to get in the poncho world too.
Really, ponchos?
Ponchos, yeah. I'm thinking, I want to start some ponchos, and I feel that my artistic, I'm good at the sweaters and the mittens and all that, but I think the ponchos is the future. I think it's the future because you can have hooded ponchos, you could have zip up ponchos, you could have throw over ponchos. I can go Southwest, I can go Native American.
Wow.
I mean, there's ponchos is unlimited.
That's amazing. It was said that back in the days of the old underwater needlepoint territories, that Ric Flair used to get to the bottom of the pool and he would do a Broadway. He'd do a 60-minute where he'd hold his breath and he'd knit his own robes.
Yeah.
Who knew?
Yeah. When he says those are $10,000 robes, those are $10,000. And what he meant by 10,000 was how many leagues he was under the water.
That's right. I mean, that's amazing. So from now on, folks, it is not only paranormal investigator, but underwater needle pointer, Beer City Bruiser.
That's right. Check out my websites for all my needle points.
That's right. Get tips on underwater needle pointing from Beer City Bruiser. Just saying. All right, let's move on to the supernatural news, shall we?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Both you and I have been to Zach Bagans' museum out there, Paranormal Museum. I can't even say Paranormal Museum after all that underwater needle pointing. Out there in Las Vegas. And one of the big surprises, I'm going to spoil it. By the way, turn off your podcast right now if you haven't already after all that talk. The big surprise at the end of the tour is actually a little bit of the Demon House.
Oh, that's right. You're right. I remember because they have it behind the sheds and they lift it up.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it's like, surprise. Yeah. And you take a little bit of the demon house with you.
Yep.
But Netflix is now going to make a movie on the demon house after a $65 million bid.
That's quite a bit of money.
Yeah, it is. That, Netflix has kind of become an art movie house all on its own. Here we go, talking about another star again. Ryan Reynolds, The Rock, Gal Gadot, all made that movie. And I think that was the most movie ever made by an independent streamer, which now has become a movie house. I want to say that was upwards of 150 million or 200 million to make that movie.
Oh, geez.
What was it called? Red something?
Red. Wasn't it just Red? I thought it was just Red.
No. Red was Bruce Willis and
oh, that's right. That's the retired. That's the comic book movie.
Yeah. It was
Red Sun, but they were going for Cleopatra's egg. I remember that.
Yeah. Yep.
And I thought The Rock and in the Hobbs and Shaw movie had good chemistry with Jason Statham. In this movie, him and Ryan Reynolds have fantastic chemistry.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's kind of funny because you could cross them if you cross them over as comic book characters. If you take all three of them, you've got Wonder Woman, Deadpool, and Black Adam.
You do.
And somehow, if they all made a movie, it would blow comic book nerds' minds clean apart. I
can hear the heads exploding now.
Yeah.
And I heard Black Adam's going to be an amazing movie.
That's what I hear
Deadpool
too.
was good. Wonder Woman was good. But I heard Black Adam's supposed to steal the show. So.
Did you see the DC Fan Zone footage?
I watched it. Not only am I an underwater needle pointer, but I'm also a comic book nerd.
Yeah, me too. Yeah. And
I watched both days because it's 2 days long. And I had to get all everything. And I've been listening to podcasts about it. I've been reading about it. Black Adam was never really a huge character I was into because I'm not a big fan of Captain Marvel.
Yep.
But because of The Rock, so Dwayne, if you're listening, I have been picking up some Black Adam comics and doing my research because I want to be ready for the movie.
The movie will be something else, I'll tell you that much.
Yeah.
But with this story, as far as Netflix $65 million bid for the Demon House movie, the chilling story of demonic possession that came out of a little house in Gary, Indiana, is set to be resurrected once again, following Netflix's $65 million bid for the rights. On January 24th, 7 companies, including MGM and Miramax, made bids for the movie package, with Netflix winning out to produce the story behind Zach Bagans' Demon House documentary, according to a report by the Hollywood entertainment news site Deadline. Production is set to begin the middle of the year, and at this time, it's unknown whether the film will be shot. The budget for the film is said to be around $30 million, which is still a pretty good budget. It's a fair budget considering Blumhouse spends anywhere from $8 to $25 or $30 million to film their films, and $30 million is a huge budget for a Blumhouse film.
Yeah, and they're going to have to build the new house because, spoiler alert, at the end of the documentary, Zach ends up destroying it because of the experiences he had there.
Yeah.
And hence why he's got some of it in his haunted museum. Mm-hmm. He's got a lot in there that movies have been made of because he had the Devil's Rocking Chair in there, and that's a movie, right? That's coming out.
Yep.
He also has the Dybbuk box in there, which there was a movie based on.
Yep.
I believe, right?
Yep.
So
absolutely,
good for Zach.
Oscar nominee Lee Daniels, known for producing major pictures such as Precious and The Butler, will be directing that movie, which will star Andra Day, Octavia Spencer, Glenn Close, Rob Morgan, Caleb McLaughlin, and Ingenue Ellis. That, according to the Entertainment Report site. The cast will bring to life the story of the Amons family, who once lived in a small white house at 3860 Carolina Street in Gary, but later moved to Indianapolis. Their story was told in the Demon House movie, which was released March of 2018, which documented the alleged paranormal attacks and demonic possession from 2011 to 2012 of the Amons family. Day will play the mother and main character, LaToya Ammons. McLaughlin will play an adult version of Ammon's son. Close will play Ammon's mother. Morgan will play Ammon's boyfriend. And Spencer will play reportedly play a clergy member who tries to help the family. The real-life horror story first went public in 2014 when the Indianapolis Star published an article about the torrent of strange happenings afflicting the family. Paranormal TV personality Zach Bagans bought the property to film the Demon House documentary, and as Bruiser said, later had the house torn down in February of 2016. According to the Calumet Township Assessor's Office, Bagans still owns that property to this day. The spot is now an empty grassy lot between two houses with a large gnarled tree standing guard near the sidewalk. However, a Northwest Indiana priest believes evil still lingers on the property and cautioned people against going for a visit. If they must, you should bring religious protection. Beneath the grassy lot. What's that?
I don't mean to interrupt you, Tim,
No,
but
go
I wish
ahead.
you had told me that earlier because I visited it.
Did you?
Yeah,
okay, wait a minute. Let's stop right here. Okay, so you visited the property.
Yeah, so when my wife and I, over Thanksgiving, we decided that we're empty nesters now.
Yep.
And we decided, you know what, it's Thanksgiving. All the kids are out of the house. Let's go for a trip. So we decided to go to Ohio.
Okay.
Well, on the way to Ohio, you go through Gary, Indiana.
Right.
I'm going from Wisconsin to Ohio. So I said, hey, she wanted to visit Michael Jackson, his house where he grew up. And I said, well, let's do that. But then let's also go visit another spot. And we pull up and she's like, what is this? And I said, you know, this is a lot. And she goes, why'd you bring me to an empty lot? And I said, well, what do you feel? You know, because she's kind of sensitive. She says, I don't like this. I don't like this at all. I said, well, you remember that documentary we watched with Zach? And she goes, no. And I said, yep, this is where it was. And she proceeded to punch me in the arm and hit me a bunch of times and get back in the car, and we went our way.
Happy anniversary. Wow. Okay. So, but you didn't get out and actually.
I did.
You did. Okay.
And yeah. Well, I have to, you know,
Yeah.
like you said, I'm also the paranormal investigator. And it's a creepy feeling, but I didn't know if the creepy feeling was because I knew what had happened there
Okay.
or because there's a presence there. If that makes sense.
That makes sense. Now, let me ask you this. Okay. So you felt the feeling that you get when you're in the museum.
Yes.
And when you were standing in front of the display that's there at the museum, especially the Demon House display, did you get the same feeling that you had in front of the Demon House display?
I actually got more intense in front of the lot. If you know, it was more cold. When you're in the museum and you're there, I got a chill, but I don't know if that was from that. But when I was there, I mean, you get a sense of dread is the feeling you get.
Really?
Yeah. It was the hair on the back of your neck stands up, whereas in the museum, you don't really get that. You know what I mean? You get obviously something happened with it, but at the actual lot. Yeah, that's
wow.
Yeah.
Huh. Okay.
I do recommend people going to Zach's museum. I mean, that, like you said, that's the end of the tour, but the whole tour is amazing. Like,
yeah.
And bring somebody with you that's skeptical, like I bring my wife, because she gets stuff drawn to her. Like we were in the Ed Gein room, and she was touched and her hair was pulled, you know, and I remember, I think I'd messaged you right when we got home, like 2 or 3 days later, because I thought something followed us home. Thankfully, after our trip this time, nothing followed us. So
good.
That's a plus. But that's because, like I said, you know, I contacted you right away, Tim. This is what's going on. You know, we talked to Mandy Leone, who is into the was that the sangria and all that, and
Santeria.
Yep. And we talked to her and found some cleansing and protection stuff to do. So this time though, thankfully nothing. So
yeah. Okay. Well, that's good. I mean, the next time you want to try something like that, if you're interested, I have a religious medallion I can send you. So
please, like I said, I wish I would have known before.
I'll enclose that in a package that I'm going to send you, so you have it. The Reverend Michael Maginot, a priest at St. Stephen Martyr Church in Merrillville, said that he believes a portal is still open at the location. So you didn't trip over that, evidently.
I didn't.
Okay.
I didn't.
Okay. Free for any demon to come through and attach. and he still receives calls from those who have had a brush with this dark phenomena. Maginot previously worked to help the Ammons family with their supernatural afflictions and held an exorcism at the house. He also worked closely with Baggins during the filming of the documentary. Most of the house is buried there, and the basement was just filled in, Maginot said. Someone picked up a shingle from the roof, and people have picked up other things from the property. You didn't do that, did you?
No. So I was staying on the sidewalk. Mm-hmm. I pictured the tree as like, this is a barrier. This is where whatever's in there can't pass this. And if I don't pass that, I think I'll be okay. And I've learned, again, just from everything I've done, taking something from there and not cleansing it or anything is just bad juju. I remember getting home from the Zach Baggins Museum, and the first thing you asked me was, did you buy anything? And I said, well, yeah, of course. Mm-hmm. You're like, you need to do the cleansing with all that stuff attached. So that was kind of going through my head when I was there, because you can see, I don't know if it, I don't mean to offend anybody, but Gary's not the cleanest town in the world. So there's a lot of garbage and debris around there. Mm-hmm. So I didn't know what was from the house, what was from someone throwing something out of their car, something from visitors. But I also didn't want to, I'm not going to lie, I wanted to grab something. The paranormal side of me wanted to grab something, bring it home, see what happened. But I also remember the torment that my wife and I went through before, and I didn't want to do that to her.
Here's something interesting that the Reverend has to say about that. He says people have picked up other things from the property other than the shingle. From there, they have problems. It's dangerous to go digging around in there. Then they call me asking for help, and I tell them that they need what they need to do. They must get the souvenirs back to the property. They must renounce it. People have even had to delete pictures of the place from their phones. Did you take any pictures?
I did.
Okay. Oftentimes, they are willing to do anything at that point to get rid of it. Maginot said that those who take items from the property or visit without religious protection complain of illness, misfortunes, vivid nightmares, negative mood changes, and strange happenings, as if otherworldly entity have followed them home. If someone goes there wanting to experience something, it will oblige them, Maginot said. Interestingly enough, you talked about the tree. There's a picture of the tree here, and Maginot also said he believes the tree at the front of the property is tied to a portal to hell. So you were smart to stop just short of the tree.
And because when you're watching the documentary and they're showing the outside, you can see the tree there. Mm-hmm. So in my head, I'm thinking that had to be a barrier. But if it's a portal, that makes sense, And now I do say this, when we got in the car, we did say a cleansing. We saged and all that inside the car. So that might have helped us. I don't know. I didn't know the basement was still there, though.
Yeah, evidently. Well, they filled it in, evidently, is what
it's all filled. I didn't know that. That. And I'm curious. I want to go back.
Well, if you do this time, my friend, you really need to be protected up. And however,
if they take anything from this story, besides it being a movie coming out, which would probably be really good because all the Conjuring movies are real good. It launched a whole franchise. But people need to realize, too, that when you're doing paranormal investigations, if it is a truly malicious area, truly demonic, stuff will attach and follow you home. You should always protect yourself, whether it be with charms or spells or whatever you believe in, prayers. You got to do that. Every investigation I go on, I always try to show respect to the people that are there, to the entities that are there. Show respect, get respect is kind of how it is. And as much as I wanted to grab something and bring it back, that's not mine to take. Right, I didn't want to bring whatever it was there because I saw what happened in the documentary and I didn't want to bring that home. So people need to realize that while they're doing their investigations, while they're doing because curiosity gets the best of us. It's human nature, but be safe.
Yes.
That's Bruiser's word of advice. Be safe.
There you go.
Be smart, be safe.
Those are wise words to follow. Maginot also said a series of misfortunes towards the end of the documentary's production stopped the final blessing of the house, which was intended to shut the portal and clear out any lingering evil. Then, unbeknownst to the priest, Baggins had the house torn down. The story was basically robbed of its happy ending, he went on to say. And I think it seems as if the demon won in the end, Maginot went on to say. If Zach Baggins sells the lot and someone builds a house there, I would definitely be willing to clear it for their safety, but I am not sure with the remains of the house still there. He really messed things up, Maginot went on to say. I could have closed the portal. So Maginot's putting it right back on Zach.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can he go back now and close it? Or does he need well, I guess he has to be in the basement if that's where one of the portals was. Because remember, Zach thought it was under the stairs. That's what's in the museum is the stairs.
Yeah, is the stairs. So that raises an interesting question. Why couldn't he just go to the museum unless the portal is there? And I don't understand why you need the physical structure.
Yeah.
Why couldn't you just go there?
They build in and from what I saw, you can't tell there's a basement there. So would he have to dig down to where because if you remember, the stairs are the ones that lead into the basement. And it was the stairs that go in the basement, and then underneath the stairs, they found the dirt. That's what's in the museum is the dirt that was there with all the objects and stuff. Does he have to actually be physically where that dirt came from, or can he go to the museum? But then again, does Zach really want the priest coming to the museum to bless? Because what happened, there's so many artifacts in that museum.
He went on to say in 2016, he performed a cleansing on the empty lot that he was unable to do when the house was standing. He said, I think we were successful, but the thing is the portal is opened. Then when I heard that when the documentary came out, people had been showing up there doing seances. You can't do that. You can't play ping pong with these things. Once it's cleared, the demon is free to bring 7 worse ones in than before. They'll do it, and they look for that opportunity, so that is a worry. So evidently, he cleared it, and then they came back because people had been messing with the actual place itself. So that would explain why it's still, I guess, haunted to this day.
You get an eerie feeling, but again, like I said, I don't know if that's because I knew what was there or because something was there. So I can't, without more research, and investigating, I can't tell you, Wow. But people don't do that either. Don't go do don't mess with stuff you don't know about. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
I'm gung ho for paranormal, and I love having experiences, and I've had my experiences, but you're messing with. When it comes to demonic stuff or malicious stuff, it's a scary area to be messing with, and I know from experience, you can get bodily harm from stuff,
Yeah.
Scratches, burns. I mean, Tim, you know that, it can happen.
I've
Don't
seen it.
invite it in. That's like inviting your neighborhood bully to come in your house and punch you in the face,
I sat and watched, we were at Waverly Hills, and I sat and watched. It wasn't a scratch or a punch, but I saw Father Andrew Calder put a vial of holy water out, and I watched it literally just dissipate in the bottle, just go down in volume and dissipate. Yeah. And it was the damnedest thing I'd ever seen in my life.
Yeah, and you can't explain it.
No. Mm-mm.
Yeah, I watched. My wife gets scratched. I've been scratched. Mandy Leone got scratched while we were at the museum. I was investigating the Visigula murder house, the axe murder house in Iowa there. Mm-hmm. And I've seen people, it looked like it was on a guy's arm, and it looked like someone had grabbed him forcefully and was pulling on him. And when he moved when everything was said and done, he has fingerprint bruise, 4 fingerprint bruises. It looked like somebody physically grabbed him, was pulling him.
Jeez.
And like when we went back and watched, you can tell the difference of someone being yanked and someone trying to act like they're being yanked.
Yeah.
So.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, you just brought a whole different perspective to the show today on one story. Interesting.
Well, like you said early in the thing, I may be a underwater needle pointer, but
exactly, yeah.
I'm also a paranormal investigator, and
Yes.
I've done investigations. I've had experiences, and the paranormal, fascinates me. And I just remember us driving, going, "Hey, Michael Jackson grew up here," and I went, "Hey, the demon house is around here.
Let's go check it out." Something not a lot of people get to do, that's for sure. Let's move on. Let's go to New Orleans, where this could either be andouille sausage jambalaya, or it just could be that something mysterious caused a loud boom which shook homes in New Orleans overnight just recently, just as soon as a couple of days ago. The New Orleans Police and Fire Department said they received several calls reporting the explosion, but neither department has confirmed a cause. This actually just happened January 26th. People across New Orleans reported hearing a loud boom overnight, but officials say they don't know yet what caused the mysterious noise. Residents from Algiers to the Gentilly neighborhood said they heard what sounded like an explosion. Residents in the Bywater areas told the Times-Picayune and New Orleans Advocate that the explosion shook their homes around 11 p.m. The New Orleans Police and Fire Department said they received several calls reporting the explosion, but neither department has confirmed a cause. That's very odd. Tim Erickson, a meteorologist at the National Weather Service in Slidell, told the newspaper. Some residents took to social media to report the boom. Anybody in New Orleans hear a huge boom about 10 minutes ago, like a giant distant explosion? One Twitter user wrote. Now, they are saying it could have been a possible meteorite. Some residents speculated that the sonic boom could have been caused by a meteorite crashing into Earth. A similar event was reported in Pennsylvania on New Year's Day. According to the NASA Meteor Watch Facebook page, residents in western Pennsylvania reported sonic booms before 11:30 a.m. on January 1st, which was later confirmed as a large meteor exploding in the atmosphere. NASA later said the blast wave as the meteor broke apart was equivalent to 30 tons of TNT.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
That's a big boom.
That'll wake you up.
Yeah.
NASA said that it assumes the meteor was traveling at around 45,000 miles per hour and was around a yard in diameter. That's quite the meteor. That's for sure.
Well, yeah, with that big of a boom. Was there any damage because of this explosion? Was there any damage reported?
None that they know of. They haven't said anything. There was a couple of tweets that were put out there. One was by Dr. Robert Collins and says, "So we are now about 2 hours into the New Orleans explosion mystery and still no official reports from first responders. The most popular Twitter theory so far to be a sonic boom from a meteorite buzzing across the city, but doesn't NASA track those?" So it's an interesting question. Yeah. Interesting stuff. I tell you what.
Has NASA said anything about it? About a meteor in that area?
Nope. No. Not at all. I tell you what, let's take our break right here. And when we come back, Uri Gellar is claiming that an alien mass landing is imminent. So it's not just the Ark of the Covenant he's going after. He's going after a meeting with some aliens. We'll talk about ghost hunters in Britain and their meeting with a smelly ghost. I guess it's possible. Deodorant isn't available in the afterlife. And the Loch Ness Monster was seen miles away from the loch in a London lake. Evidently, even Nessie needs a little time away. We'll check all that out in just a bit. You're listening to the best in paranormal podcasting. This is Darkness Radio. Welcome back to the best in paranormal podcasting. This is Darkness Radio. I'm Tim Dennis, along with Beer City Bruiser. This is Supernatural News Wednesday. I almost forgot what day it was, Bruiser.
It happens. You're a busy guy, Tim.
I'm getting to be that age, I think. That's what it is. It's one of those things. You know, last week I talked with Scott Walter about Uri Gellar and the Ark of the Covenant. Mm-hmm. And we talked a little bit about what exactly would Uri Gellar do if he found the Ark of the Covenant. But Uri's a busy guy, Bruiser.
Okay.
He's a busy guy. He's got more going on than just the Ark of the Covenant. Now the spoonbender in chief believes that a recently discovered neutron star is actually evidence of aliens.
Okay.
Screw that.
How?
Well, screw the James Webb telescope for one. I mean, and actually finding the little critters. Evidently, it's just the fact that this neutron star is actually evidence of aliens. Scientists this week have revealed the discovery of a mysterious object situated 4,000 light years out in space that was producing a set of anomalous signals, which stopped just after 3 months. They eventually concluded that this was a new class of neutron star known as an ultra-long period magnetar. However, Israeli spoonbender Uri Gellar isn't convinced by this explanation. Known for his out-there claims and predictions, Gellar instead maintains that the signals were detected, in fact, are alien chatter indicative of an imminent invasion. Well, it's good of him to stretch that to that.
There's the invasion thing again. I just, Hollywood has warped everyone's mind that they're going to come invade us and they're going to be pods and War of the Worlds and all that. Like, how do we know they just weren't passing through or something? I don't know. I maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there's going to be an imminent danger, but I'm a pessimist. Is that what? Optimist. I'm an optimist. Where hopefully they just want to chat and say hi and
maybe
poke
they're just
fun of us. We're like the zoo to them.
I think we are. I think you're closer than you know. Maybe they're just on their way to the intergalactic 7-Eleven.
It could be. Maybe that's what it is. You know how in Iowa they have the I-80 big giant truck stop? Maybe Earth is the universal truck stop.
That would be pretty accurate in more ways than you know. I mean, food, fuel, and the occasional alien glory hole. I mean, that's pretty much what this place is, isn't it?
It is. And he's just trying everything, can he? Like, he knows where the Ark of the Covenant is. Now he knows that these are aliens and they're going to invade us. Like, Yuri's up there right now, isn't he?
Yeah. He's swinging for the fences, boy. I tell you, life is short. You gotta get in where you fit in.
I like how you refer to him as the Israeli spoonbender too every time.
Well, we all got to have a handle. I mean,
we do.
That is a hell of a gimmick, though. The Israeli spoonbender. Can you imagine? Any ring announcer yelling that out in underwater needle pointing? Yes, because you do have pool announcers.
Yes,
they're known as lifeguards.
Yes. In fact, Bobby Cruz is probably the most famous
pool
lifeguard.
Announcer? Yeah, lifeguard.
Pool announcer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he looks fantastic with his that little floaty thing under his arms.
Yeah. He wears a breakaway tux, doesn't he? So he can jump into the pool at any time and help out you guys in case you're in trouble.
And he's actually very talented. Where he's so talented, Tim. He can actually announce from underwater.
Wow.
Yeah. Like, you know how they've just recently done studies where sharks react to different music and stuff like that? Yeah. My daughter's really into sharks. Yep. Mm-hmm. Bobby Cruz has figured out a way to do the announcing underwater.
I'm impressed.
Well, keeping us safe.
I am impressed. That man has impressed me.
Yes.
All I do when I open up my mouth underwater is drown. He's impressed me. According to Uri Gellar, getting back to the story, a team mapping radio waves in the universe has discovered something unusual that releases a giant burst of energy 3 times an hour, and it's unlike anything astronomers have seen before. This is what he wrote, according to this article. No doubt in my mind that this is connected to alien intelligence way superior than ours, Uri went on to say. Start deciphering their messages. They are preparing us for a mass landing soon.
How do we know they're smarter than us, too? That's the other question I have. Like, are we going to be disappointed if they get off the UFO and they're just Timbuktu, like, hey, hello, Earthlings?
They're the hillbillies of the universe? That'd be kind of fun, wouldn't it?
It would. Like, I'm in that mood where I just want to go against Uri right now. Like, I don't know why.
You should. I think more people should. To be honest, I think maybe they get out of the spacecraft and they're like, "Y'all got any uranium?"
We need to get to the next airport.
So exactly why he would believe those signals detected 4,000 light years away would be an indication of an impending invasion of Earth, well, that remains a complete mystery. Maybe he just, like I said, swinging for the fences. He just needs an indication.
He's overlooking the fact that they're finding waves from that far away. Like, that's a huge breakthrough. That means that there's something out there producing these waves,
Yeah. Well, there's many reasons why those waves could be produced, not just aliens.
Correct. Yeah.
And that's why we sent that multi-billion-dollar telescope up there. Do
you think he just wants him to turn this telescope there so they look that direction because he's doing something in the other direction? I don't know.
It is.
I'm just thinking Uri.
It's sleight of hand so he can continue bending spoons.
Because the Ark of the Covenant's over this direction.
That's right.
So he wants him to look in this direction.
He's like, do not look right now. I am bending a spoon. I don't know. No idea.
Yuri's gonna email you and hate mail. You know that, right? Like, Yuri's gonna be why are you and Bruiser against me?
You want to hear something funny? I shouldn't be too mean to Uri because I think I have a potential way to get him on the show.
Oh.
Yeah. We may be having him on Darkness Radio soon.
That would be awesome.
And we'll talk to him about that. We'll talk to him about why he thinks that aliens are coming soon, and we'll talk to him about...
I'm not against aliens coming soon. I firmly believe that the aliens are going to, at some point in time, it's going to be revealed that either aliens have been here or are currently here or will be coming here. I just have a hard time with it. Every time someone talks about aliens, it's right away, they're going to invade us, they're going to destroy us. I'm not saying we welcome them in with wide open arms and our defenses down. I'm just saying, let's give them a chance.
Yeah.
Like, hey, what's your intentions?
Well, some of them evidently is to probe our anus, but other than that,
they're probably looking, hey, this looks like some place we can insert. Okay.
This is where you hide your weed, man. Other than that, I have no idea.
They watched a bunch of prison documentaries, and they're like, well, they make them bend over and cough, so that must be where they're hiding all their secrets of the world.
This is where they keep their stuff when they go to prison. Let's see what's in there. That's probably what it is. What happened is they're up there in their spaceship, and they've watched too many episodes of Cops. So they're just trying to get the drugs, man.
They're finding all this stuff up there. Maybe we can find something.
That's right. We just want to try your meth.
because again, they're the country bumpkins of the universe.
That's right. Man, we just want to get some of that there ecstasy. That's all we want.
No, I hope you get Uri on. That would be an interesting conversation to see why he goes so extreme with the alien thing. I love the Ark of the Covenant. It'd be great if you could find the Ark of the Covenant. That'd be a huge thing, not just in the religious world, but scientific, paranormal, everything,
Yeah, yeah.
Why is he want? They're not. How do you know they're coming to destroy us? Come on, Uri.
Maybe he's had talks. I don't know. No idea. Let's move on to Britain there, Bruiser. Ghost hunters have captured a smelly 6-foot ghost at one of Britain's most haunted buildings. A crack team of ghost hunters say they've run into a 6-foot tall spirit that stinks of BO. How do you run?
They made sure the whole team had showered the night before or before they got there, right?
I would hope so. I don't know how you run a ghost through the shower. You could try.
They have those bikini car washes. Well, we could start a bikini ghost wash. Look at us.
A bikini ghost wash.
Yeah, we can investigate, have girls in bikinis washing the ghosts. We're going to be millionaires, Tim.
You, my friend, are a genius. Wow. The team have been casing the historic and apparently haunted bowling hall in Bradford, West Yorks for paranormal activity. The hall is one of the oldest buildings in Bradford, with parts of it dating back to the medieval times, and lead investigator Dean Buckley said it is very active. Dean and his team of mediums, which includes his partner Veronica, toured the haunted halls late into the night, even capturing some snaps of what appears to be ghostly figures. Describing the moments that the ghost hunting crew stumbled upon the stinky ghost, Dean told the Yorkshire Live crew that the team were scrambling up the stairs after a mysterious tall figure when the stench hit them. That's when it'll happen, when you're chasing them up the stairs and you get that waft in the face.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. He said there was a smell about him. One of the investigators said, "Oh, there's an awful smell." And he could sense, can you just imagine a little British accent? "Oh, there's a terrible smell. Oh,
That
dear
smell
God.
is just terrible.
Oh,
Gottfried, what is that smell?
oh, dear God. Someone needs a bit of a shower, don't they?"
What? I'm sorry. Do you think? What if the guy just farted, but he didn't want to admit he farted, so he's blamed it on the ghost?
That would be perfect. "Oh, dear, I believe he shat himself."
Was that you? No, it was the spiritual force behind it.
"I believe I smell a demon." Yeah, ew. It's like body odor, like someone who hasn't washed for days, is the quote. Dean, who, oh God, you. Dean, who has got more than 20 years of experience in the field, told how he had started off in the hall's blue room, where he saw a woman on the side of the bed. He said, "I started off in the bedroom, the blue room, and during the first part of the night, I was taking some photos and saw a woman in the room on the side of the bed. There's also another picture I took later through the night about 1:40 a.m., and it's like a face on the right side of the bed of a male coming through, and I thought that's what the mist on the bed is." Dean, who explored the hall with his team last weekend, said the haunted hall is now in his top 20 favorite ghost hunting spots. Evidently not for the olfactory senses, but, that's what he said.
He said it's medieval times, so it could make sense that the ghost, if it's from medieval times, because they didn't bathe and shower regularly, so it makes sense. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Your Victorian ghost is and you've been on investigations where someone smelled perfume or cigar smoke. Maybe for some reason this ghost was just attached to his body odor.
Right, I smell great. I'll give him a whiff of that. Yeah. Ooh. Another ghost story.
I kind of want to go now. I really
You want to go to that place?
Yeah, I really want to go now. Like, not that I'm into smelling weird body odors on people, but
You spent too much time in an underwater needle-pointing locker room, my friend.
Man, you want to have a unique smell. You go into an underwater needlepoint locker room, and it smells.
Too much chlorine.
Yes.
Yep. Another ghost story we have here. There's a video out there showing a ghostly figure that set off a security camera. Home security cameras have been great for catching porch pirates or potential burglars, but they've also filmed plenty of non-criminal acts. They've recorded everything from alien abductions. They have. Have you ever seen an alien abduction film?
I haven't seen an alien abduction. I've seen UFOs and I've seen aliens and cryptids, but not an abduction.
Gosh, show me that video. To strange creatures or epic meltdowns, to lightning strikes or babies being born. I've never seen a baby born on a security cam, although I would not watch that.
Saw it. There's a very famous, you can actually go on YouTube. There's an Uber driver where a lady gives birth in the back of his Uber.
Really?
She ordered an Uber. Instead of calling an ambulance, she called an Uber to go to the hospital.
Unbelievable.
Ended up delivering the baby in the back of the Uber.
I suppose it's cheaper.
I guess.
Insurance won't cover it, but there you go. A security cam in California might have just filmed a ghost now. The camera, which is motion activated, started recording after a shadow mist passed in front of it. And many people who watch the footage are convinced that the mist is a ghost. It all went down in Modesto, California over the summer, but the homeowner's brother recently shared the footage online. He revealed that his sister's dogs were barking all night, and she kept looking outside to see what had gotten them so worked up, but she didn't see anything. A few hours later, though, she got notification from her security system that the motion had been detected outside. That's when she watched the haunting clip. There definitely seems to be something there, but it is almost cloud-like since at times it is transparent and at other points it obscures the objects behind it. Plus, there has to be some density to set it off as well, the camera, that is. The family doesn't seem to be surprised to potentially have a paranormal visitor, but the man who posted the video explained, "We see stuff in the house all the time, but we never felt like it was dangerous, so we do our thing and the ghost does its thing." Commenters seem split over what's in the video. Some suggest it's a spirit, while others theorize it is a dust cloud or a raindrop evaporating on the camera lens.
That's something that you need to test, you know? Does dust activate it? Does the raindrop, you know? I love the security stuff because everything's digital nowadays. You can't get double exposure and stuff like that. In fact, my wife and I are in the process of buying a house. Mm-hmm. And one of the things we want is a security system like that. And she wants it for safety. I want it for paranormal reasons, but we're going to get it.
Right on. Now, I got to ask you, as you're looking for property, are you looking for, specifically, are you looking for a haunted house, or are you looking to stay away from a haunted house?
I would love a haunted house. Yeah. My wife wouldn't. We've looked at a couple of houses where just right off the bat, it's like, okay, yeah, something happened. There was a house we were looking at. It's an old hospital, or one of the doctor owned it, and he ran his practice out of there. Yeah. And in the basement, they had like separate rooms and stuff like that. And she looked at me because we're looking out in North Carolina. This house had to be like 100 and some years old. And she goes, "Nope, not getting it." And I said, "Why?" She goes, "I know, you know why." I said, "Yeah, chances are it's probably haunted. Like, he kept his medical practice there. His wife died in the house. He died in the house." But yeah, I would love that. She can't convince her yet. So
right on.
But you know, a security system is aiming outside and stuff like that. You never know. I mean, how many times there's videos out there of one of the videos I've seen where it's shooting on a road and you see it looks like a dog walking and then it just vanishes. So maybe we'll pick something up that way.
Yeah, most definitely. Let's head overseas, over the pond, where it turns out, Bruiser, that Loch Ness Monster has been seen miles away from home in a London lake. You know, everybody needs a vacation every once in a while, and sometimes you just got to get away from your public. As you know, being a professional underwater needle pointer, you just need to get away from the public every once in a while and just enjoy a different lake.
Nessie was just done with the selfies.
Just done with the selfies, yeah.
Yep. The meet and greet.
The meet and greet. The Loch Ness Monster has been a staple of Scottish folklore for decades, but nobody quite expected it to rear its long neck in England, that's for sure. The mythical creature has made a surprise appearance in Wimbledon Park, southwest London, miles away from its supposed home in the Scottish Highlands, and was spotted by Eric Chytros on his morning stroll. He took a picture of what appeared to be the partially submerged neck and head of a creature, of the creature, before sharing it online, where it gathered much attention. One Londoner wrote, "That's an escaped elephant. Anyone missing any?" An escaped elephant in the water. That's a good one.
Hey, it's a possibility. You heard what happened in Pennsylvania when I don't know if you heard this, but a truck full of monkeys crashed. It was 100 monkeys in a truck.
Yes, I did.
Yep, and 6 of them got away. So maybe a truck carrying an elephant crashed.
I told somebody online I would adopt them all and bring them home. Although
I need a monkey.
It wouldn't go over well, but I'd do it. Another responded, "Effing wild swimmers."
What?
I don't know. That could mean anything. It really, I mean.
That's the most general statement in the world.
It really is, yeah. Amid the skepticism, there was one believer in the form of a Scotsman who commented, I could do the Scottish voice, but it won't go over. On behalf of Invernessians and living in London, I can confirm that we endorse this message. There's such weird comments online, I'll tell you that.
Yep.
Conspiracy theories range from Nessie taking a break from the loch in the capital of a discarded Boris bike, presumably a disgruntled somebody unimpressed by the Partygate scandal the prime minister is embroiled in. Oh, we went political there. Eric's photo was reminiscent of the famous surgeon's photograph taken in 1934, which was supposedly the first image to capture the creature. The photo made international headlines at the time, but has since been revealed as an elaborate hoax. The Nessie of Wimbledon Lake is very much the same, with Eric admitting he had not stumbled across the elusive eel, but a submerged tree. As soon as I spotted Spotted it. I thought of Nessie, hence I snapped a picture, he explained. The construction site manager is keeping an open mind about the real Loch Ness Monster, as you never know what's hiding in the unknown. He added, if a real Nessie exists, then it's got to be some dinosaur that refused to go extinct. I'd like to think that it does exist. The legend of the Loch Ness Monster dates back to centuries, with accounts of a monster inhabiting the Loch Ness appearing in a biography of St. Columba from 565 AD. According to the report, the monster bit a man swimming in the loch and was preparing to attack another when Columba intervened and ordered it away. Alleged encounters have passed on through the years, but it wasn't until the early 1900s that the legend picked up momentum. In 1933, a couple spotted an enormous animal, which they compared to a dragon or prehistoric monster in the loch before it retreated under the water. Numerous sightings followed, notably one from English physician Robert Kenneth Wilson, who photographed the creature in 1934. His image, known as a surgeon's photograph, appeared to show the monster neck and head and spurred many sonar explorations of the loch. Years later, it emerged Mr. Wilson's photo was a hoax led by a aggrieved big game hunter who had previously been commissioned to investigate the creature, with the monster actually a plastic and wooden head attached to a toy submarine, which is always kind of fun to prank your neighbors that way.
Oh, yeah.
Nessie is often depicted with its long neck and head emerging from the water, with many speculating it was a plesiosaur, a marine reptile that went extinct a million years ago. But recent research has uncovered that the prehistoric creatures did not, in fact, hold their heads high in that way. And so we're back to square one.
The best part of that whole legend was that the guy ordered the thing away from biting the other guy.
Yes.
I order you to stop.
Away with you, no.
My bad.
Yep. Whoops. Another crypto story for you, and then we've got actually a Parashare story that was called into us, and we'll play that for you here momentarily. And by the way, you can get in on the Parashare stuff. You can email me at tim@darknessradio.com, and we would love to have you actually weigh in and send us your Parashare stories. We're still doing Parashare stuff, folks. We still want to hear your stories, much like the story Bruiser had about the Demon House. We want to hear your stories there as well.
Yeah, stories are great. I love hearing other people's experiences, and some of the best things about going to cons and stuff is you get to just see and hear all the different things. Like, well, you could get a group of people to visit the same location and every single person come out with a different story.
Yeah, absolutely. So we want to hear your stories, and you can do that by emailing, which is the simplest thing to do, and tim@darknessradio.com. You can also call them in. And I said before we were going to have a different number, but we don't have a different number as of yet. So for right now, you can actually still call us on our old number. And our old number for that is 651-300-4977. 651-300-4977. Give us a call on that number, and we will take your voice messages. And we'd be glad to do Parashare there. We'll play that Parashare in just a second, but let's get to this story from Pennsylvania. Crypto story: an unidentified animal is baffling experts in Pennsylvania. A mysterious animal that resembles some sort of dog or coyote has been discovered in the west of the state. The enigma first presented itself earlier in the week when resident Christina Eith noticed an animal outside her home that appeared to be lost and was shivering from the cold weather. Her first thought was it was her neighbor's dog. However, on closer inspection, the animal looked somewhat unusual, so she decided to call wildlife experts for a second opinion. When they examined the animal, they were unable to tell what it was either. It wasn't long before the mystery had ended up on the local TV news. I honestly can't definitively say what it is, she went on to say, but to err on the side of caution, since they can carry rabies. Oh, I'm sorry, this was wildlife rehabilitator Morgan Barron who went on to say, I honestly can't definitively say what it is, but to err on the side of caution, since they carry rabies, or can carry rabies, and since it might be a coyote, we can keep it here and can get genetic testing done and go from here. It could be some time, however, before the results of the testing are known. So there you go, some sort of weird unidentified animal.
That's awesome. They caught it too.
Yeah.
Like, how often do you get to hear they capture a cryptid?
Yeah,
you know?
very, very much so. I mean, and that's the thing. With the cryptids, you always hear, well, I had a brush with it and I can't quite describe it and I don't quite know what to think of it. In this case, you've got it on hand. You can tell if it's mangy or if it's a different, if it's canine, if it's this, if it's that. So we'll know soon enough with the results.
I hope it's something like new, like that would make the cryptid part, like I'm a big fan of cryptids, growing up in Wisconsin, Beast of Bray Road and all that,
Mm-hmm.
but like if they actually caught something and now it's a new species, like does it leave the cryptid then and go into the regular zoological then if they can identify it? How does that work?
It's a good question. I guess you classify if it's related to, like, let's say if it's a half coyote, half wolf, half dog. Wait, that's three halves. If it's a third of those, then I guess you create a new genome and you name it after whoever the scientist is that discovered it.
I hope they give it to the lady. Let her, this guy, she gets to choose, and she chooses like Charlie or something.
And they called it Charlie. Oh, my singing sucks. All right, let's. We've got Parashare. As I said before, you can give us a call, 651-300-4977. That is the Parashare line. At least for now, we may change the number up a little bit later, but 651-300-4977. You can share your experiences with us, or you can email me at tim@darknessradio.com, and we'll read those experiences on the air here, and Bruiser and I will weigh in. So that's what we're going to do right now. We're going to air this particular call from this gentleman, and this gentleman is Mark from Northern Arkansas, who's going to weigh in and let us know about his experience right now.
Hello, Tim. My name is Mike. I grew up in Northern Arkansas. It was the late 70s. We lived right across the field from my grandparents. I was probably 13 or 14 years old. My grandfather had a stroke and had to be placed in permanent care. My grandmother, she was quite crippled, and she was not able to take care of herself at first for a while, so us grandkids took turns spending the night with her. And my grandparents did not have hardly any furnishings at all. They had one radio that had no on-off switch on it. She just plugged and unplugged it because of her arthritis. And it was only on for when the news was on. That's the only thing she used it for. At night time, she left one naked light bulb turned on in the kitchen. She had a gas stove, refrigerator, and a freezer, and that was it. There was no other electronic devices in the house. That was all. It was probably, I'm guessing, around midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning. I was awakened by a very loud voice that was speaking, much louder than conversation. I know it was not my grandmother. She snores like a freight train. So, and sometimes the voice would talk over her snoring, and I could even hear the voice more plainly than her. It repeated multiple times. This went on for like an hour. It kept saying guards over and over. And it also, I kind of got the feeling of something to do with a fire and maybe a ship, but it wasn't very clear, all the details. But guards was definitely repeated multiple times. But I did go back and spend the night with her further after that, and I had no other further incidences with her. However, she would call us quite frequently later on when she was able to stay by herself to inform us that somebody was trying to break in her house. She saw somebody outside of her window. She had nothing in the house. There was no reason anybody would ever bother her. We were in the country. But I don't think that was ever it. We kind of became known as her ghost. That's what we called it. And we always went over to check it out. Never footprints, never any sign of anything. Wanted in her house, it would have been very easy to break in. But we believe that it was some sort of paranormal entity. We do not think, we use the term ghost loosely. ghost, alien, progressed memory, who knows? But that's my story. I have no others. Thank you for letting me share. And thank you.
Interesting.
Yeah, I like that. That's real interesting.
So what do you
The fact that you
think?
could hear the voice over the snoring, like, very interesting.
The fact that there were guards fire, do you get that it was probably a disembodied voice from, first of all, do you think it was active or do you think it was residual?
I think it was active, because if it was residual, he said he'd been there for a while. You know what I mean? I'm curious as to what was going on in his life, or it was his grandmother, he said, that was snoring, right?
Yeah.
I was curious to see what's going on in their lives, as far as like anxiety and whatnot, because that can trigger something from the other side trying to contact you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And to say, then he says it followed the grandmother, just very curious as to what she was going through. And it doesn't sound like was terrorizing her, did it? I mean,
no, maybe more of a nuisance, if anything else. Yeah.
I'd like to know what she was going through, because I've had experiences where, I've had real bad anxiety and my grandmother appeared and I couldn't understand what she was saying, but I knew she said something, but all my anxiety went away, so, but he said it went on for like a half hour.
Yeah.
Right.
I'd be curious to know too, if whatever the voice was, because he said he didn't know if it was ghosts or know if it was alien.
Right.
I'd be curious to know if there was a relative that passed on that might have had a tie to his grandmother. And if that, because you heard guards fire,
ship,
to me, that suggests military service.
Yes.
So if you had a relative that was maybe tied to her and tied to military service, it might, and I don't know what the time frame is here, but maybe military service as far as World War II or whatnot.
And the military would make sense too, with when she was on her own, it was outside the house.
Mm-hmm.
She thought something was trying to break in, but military guards, they do patrols around whatever they're guarding.
Well, and I'm getting like, I'm not trying to play psychic here or anything, but like Navy.
Yeah.
And maybe a fire on a ship. Or fire like guns on a ship. So, you've got guards fire, maybe MPs of some sort. I don't know.
It's definitely military. It feels that way. And when what's sticking out in my head is guard, and then it being outside her house, because he never says it came in. You know what I mean? She'd always say someone's trying to break into my house. So military guards don't enter play. They always stay on the outside.
Yeah.
If it's a Navy, their duty is to guard whatever deck they're on.
Right. Right.
And if a fire breaks out, the first thing you do is you start screaming fire, to either get the fire put out or evacuate ship or whatever. So I'm curious too. Like, I'm with you on the military ties.
Yeah. Yeah. Interesting though. I mean, it's a very interesting call. Thank you, Mark, for calling in. And again, you can give us a call, 763. Again, I slipped my mind as to what the number is. Let me grab it here. You can email tim@darknessradio.com and email in your Parashare, or you can give us a call and we'll at 651-300-4977, 651-300-4977. And we'll play your call on the air here, and we'll talk about it here on Parashare. And if you have thoughts about Mark's call, you can email me too.
I'm curious about too with Mark, because he heard the disembodied voice is what he heard.
Yeah.
His grandmother experienced seeing or something trying to get in.
Mm-hmm.
I'm curious because he said eventually his grandmother, they moved her someplace else.
Yep.
Did the disembodied voice stop then for him?
Yeah.
Are they connected? Do you see where I'm going with that? Like,
Yep.
Are the two connected?
Yep. Exactly. Yeah. And did it did it go away, and did it stay with the property?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Thank you, Mark.
Yeah, thank you, Mark. Appreciate the phone call. And again, by all means, please, folks, we want your Parashare experiences, and we'd like to either play them on the air or read them on the air as well. Let's move on. There's an interesting article out there, Bruiser, about people's experience with a glitch in the Matrix. Yeah, I don't know if you've seen that new iteration of the Matrix or not. I was not impressed at all.
I have not watched it because everyone I've talked to said the same thing you just said.
Yeah. But they are having their own Matrix experience where they have a glitch in the Matrix. And it's baffling the internet, and they're saying it's spooky and unsettling. We're not talking about the Mandela effect here. We're actually talking about, like, that little movement in the tapestry of reality, that little blur thing where you think you're not in reality, where you could kind of put your hand through reality, and find something on the other side. That's the only way I can describe it. That little blur. It's audio, folks. It's not visual. A phrase first coined in the 1999 film The Matrix, which posited the idea that humanity is living in a giant computer simulation over the years. A glitch in the Matrix, if you will, has become shorthand for an example for an unusual occurrence that cannot be logically explained. During a recent discussion on Mumsnet, which garnered over 700 comments, users were invited to offer up their own experiences of a glitch in the Matrix, and the responses did not disappoint. There's just a few of the notable experiences that were shared on the forum. We'll share them here. One of them was a vivid image. N Change for Matrix thread wrote, years ago, I was talking to a colleague. He was a nice guy, but too young for me and not my type. In any event, he was leaving to move abroad for the following month, or moving abroad the following month, and I was divorced and 40 years old. While we were talking, I got what I could only describe as a vivid image in my mind. It was of myself and this colleague, and we were married with 2 children and living in a very hot place. Fast forward 5 years, and all of this came true. He stayed in England. A few months later, we dated. Then we got married and had 2 children when I was in my mid-40s. Then out of the blue, he was offered a job in the Middle East, and we all moved there, hence your hot place. I know it was a coincidence, but it was really strange.
That's crazy.
That to me would seem like a psychic flash.
Yeah. Like people have those where they'll dream something and it happens. Mm-hmm. It's like that saying, you put it out in the universe and you manifest it in the universe.
Right.
That sounds like that's an interesting story though. Like to a T, everything that he had experienced happened.
Right. This next one has to do with dead spiders. Vampire thriller recalled, I was once on my own in my family home. Family were all on holiday and only I had keys. Guy or gal says, I was making jam. I came to put it in jars and could only find half the lids. So I left the lidless jars in the pantry and I went to bed. Got up in the morning and all the lidless jars now had lids screwed on tight, and in every jar was a dead spider.
Oh.
Ew.
Are you sure you didn't drink a few the night before and forget you put the lids on?
That's disgusting.
I don't think that's a Matrix thing. I think that's a disgusting thing. Is what that
Yeah,
is.
yeah, it is. That's nightmare material there.
Yeah.
This one is shattered in midair. Butterpuffed said, as a teenager, there were several
Great name, by the way. I don't mean to interrupt. Butterpuffed is a fantastic name.
That is. It travels with you wherever you go. Butterpuff said, as a teenager, there were several of us having a seance. Someone asked if there was a god. The wine glass shot off the table, shattered in midair, and fell to pieces on the floor. I still remember it to this day.
That's still not Matrix. That's more paranormal or spiritual, I think.
Yeah, I do too. I think you were messing with the wrong presence is what I think.
I think so too. I think you mentioned God and they got mad. That's like someone getting angry at a dinner and throwing the glass down. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
That's what that sounded like. The first one sounded Matrix. The last two, I don't know yet.
Yeah, that sounded like you affronted something that hated God is what it sounds to me.
Yeah, especially if they're doing a seance. Like, you're contacting something on the other side. You don't know what you're hoping to contact something positive, but that sounds like something negative that doesn't like God, and to show they don't like God through the glass against the wall or whatever it was.
Exactly. This one's called Voices in My Head. Tabby Pawpaw, another great name, recalled about 15 years ago, I was tidying my room when suddenly there was a loud pop in one ear, followed by the sound of people talking. It was the strangest feeling, almost like hearing a conversation, and then the people realize and move away. It faded to nothing. The voices were in my head, if you know what I mean, rather than it being like overhearing people in the next room or next door.
That's interesting, but nothing came about of it? Like,
no.
See, I think it would be Matrix if the conversation she heard, she later heard a couple days later, a couple years later.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, interesting nonetheless, but
yeah, interesting, but
it fits in the Matrix thing.
Yeah, exactly. This one's called Identical Milks, which happened to me a lot in grade school. I don't know. 419HLR writes, I was making myself a cup of tea and then put the milk back in the fridge after using it. The doorbell rang, so I answered it. When I came back to get my cup of tea, the milk was beside the cup. Dun, dun, dun. Thought it was weird, but maybe I got distracted by the door and put it down instead of putting it away. I took it to the fridge, opened the door, and there was the milk. I had 2 identical milks. We had definitely only bought 1 carton, so I have no idea what happened.
Now that's Matrix.
That's
that
the
right
Matrix.
there, I think, is a glitch in the Matrix.
Yep.
Because I was expecting to open the door and there's nothing there. They put it back. But no, that's Matrix stuff right there. When you are holding it in your hand and the one you'd put away is right there, now there's a glitch in the Matrix.
What would be really creepy is you've checked the expiration date and they both had the same expiration date.
Oh, that would terrify me. And if they're the same amount in that and like completely 100% identical.
Yep.
That's Matrix. That's Matrix.
Yeah, that it is. This next one is the 53rd birthday. P. Gordino commented, my godfather died about 30 years ago on his 53rd birthday. I missed seeing him by a matter of hours, and I traveled up from London with a birthday card for him and reached the hospital only to be told he's gone. Just after Christmas, I decided to make yet another attempt to sort out the loft. Found an old bag with a card in it with my godfather's name in my handwriting on it. It was the card I'd brought with me for him on that day. I'd traveled up to see him. It just felt particularly odd that I should find it on my own 53rd birthday.
It is curious. I bet that could be a coincidence, too.
Yeah, it could be coincidence.
But that is eerie. That is very, very eerie.
Yeah, very eerie indeed. This one's called In the Middle of My Bed. Spider Light, another great name, said, I went into an event with my very first digital camera. This was back in the 90s when they were quite a new thing. I took lots of photos in the morning, and then at around lunchtime, I realized that I'd lost the camera. I was gutted. I retraced my steps, asked at every stall I'd stopped at whether it had been handed in, but there was no trace of it. At the end of the day, I went back into my locked hotel room, quite some distance from the event, and the camera was sitting right in the middle of my bed with all the photos from the morning on it.
Oh, there. Matrix. That's creepy.
That is creepy.
Yeah.
I got to tell you, creepy.
If I walked in after spending the whole day looking for it and it was sitting in the middle of my bed, I'm looking in every nook and cranny of that hotel room to see if somebody's there.
Yeah.
Freaking out, especially with all the photos on it.
Yep. I start looking for spy cameras and stuff like that all over the hotel room.
Exactly.
Yep.
That's Matrix there. That's creepy.
Yeah, that is weird. This one's called The Wedding Ring. Praise the Sunshine, another good name, posted, my husband came home from work upset because he had lost his wedding ring. He never takes it off except to shower, so we figured it must have slipped off somehow. He was frantically looking for it, and we turned the house upside down. We even went back to his work to search the car park, but no such luck. Later that day, I was in the kitchen alone when I heard the sound of something hitting the floor. I turn around, and right there on the floor, a couple feet away, was his wedding ring. It was as if it had just happened and appeared out of thin air.
That's creepy too, but
see, that could be apportation.
Yeah.
That could be a paranormal ghostly thing.
Yeah.
Like he took it off to shower, put it on the counter. Something could have grabbed it, like a spirit could have grabbed it, taken it away, dropped it in front of her. And we've heard cases of that before.
And especially if it's a playful spirit that enjoyed them searching the house. She said they ripped apart the house. They went to his work.
Yep.
Spirit could have just been enjoying that. And then, like you said, oh, here you go.
Yep. Yeah. This one's called Time Warp, Spider in a Wing Mirror.
A lot of spiders.
Yeah. People are obsessed with spiders. Says, I undertook the same journey frequently, 45 minutes door to door. Ruralish route, only one way to go. Keep that in mind. Except once it took me 30 minutes, which is physically impossible. I checked my phone, text message half hour earlier to a friend saying I'm leaving. Check time on phone against watch and radio. It's not physically possible for me to have done it in that time. Still mystified.
I've had experiences like that where it takes you X amount of time and something happens faster. I believe in the time stuff. I think there are time slips. Mm-hmm. I've heard stories of people visiting places and someone, it's almost like they go back in time. And I can see that if they do that route regularly and it's 45 minutes one way regularly, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I can see it being awkward, I'm curious. Like, I'd like to do the route a bunch, you know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of experiments you could do.
I've done that too. Yeah, where it's supposed to take an hour to get somewhere. I've got there in 45, and it's not because I've gone 103 miles an hour in a 55. It's right. Because for some reason you've just zoomed through time and you've got there.
And how many times have we had it where you've zoned out driving and all of a sudden it's like almost you come to and you're like, how did I get here? You know what I mean? Like, that happens a lot when I'm on the road, and it might be because I'm tired and stuff, but it's like, wait a minute, this drive's supposed to be this long. How did I make it in this time? And what happened between this time? How did I not crash? I
did that once going to Chicago. I actually got to Chicago in like 5 hours and 5.5 hours, I think it was. And that's almost impossible.
Yeah.
From Minneapolis. And I was like, there's just no way. And I kept checking the time and checking, when I left. And I thought maybe I didn't mark the time right of when I left, but I did.
Especially if he had like a text message saying, hey, I'm leaving now.
Yeah, I did.
So you have an actual start time.
Yep.
And you got to think too, when you're doing, like he said, he did it regularly. There's landmarks you see where you're like, oh, there's, the 7-Eleven. I'm 25 minutes now. Oh, look, there's that silo with the smiley face on it. I'm 10 minutes now. Mm-hmm. Like, that stuff. So
yeah, absolutely.
I'd be curious. Like that's one where I'd like to do the drive a couple times and do a couple experiments to see what could happen. But it's believable. Yeah.
2 more of these stories here. The autograph picture. I think you're going to like this next name here. Being an underwater needle pointer professional. Right. This name is Crochet Monkey 74.
Oh, he's a famous underwater.
He is.
Yeah.
Famous underwater needle pointer.
Went and did crochet because he was so dominant in needlepoint.
He was. He said, I'm not all about the game anymore. I'm going over here to crochet.
Yep, more money in crochet.
Yeah, there is. Crochet Monkey 74 says, years ago, I had a signed photo of Andy Peters and Ed the Duck, British kids TV presenters. It was when I was a young child. I left it at my mom's house in the loft with childhood stuff when I went to university, by the way. My mom then left that house and moved in with my stepdad at his house. I never had a room there, and the boxes of my childhood stuff were never unpacked. In the meantime, I lived in 4 separate towns before my current town. I haven't been back much to the house since she died 9 years ago. A family member still lives there, so we haven't cleared the loft yet. 2 years ago, in a laundry bag bought about 3 years ago in my current town, which has never been anywhere but my current house, I found my signed picture at the bottom of it one day. I've racked my brains how it could have got there. It is definitely mine. I have a fairly unusual name, and it has the same folded corner on the picture. There's literally no way it could have got there. I have no old childhood books it could have been in and fallen out of. I haven't got anything out of that loft ever. I actually accused my sister of playing a joke on me, and we both ended up in tears. I found it so scary as it was a totally impossible thing.
I don't think it's impossible. How do we know his mom didn't put it there before she passed?
I think he said, though, that he bought the bag. Well, he bought the bag 3 years ago. His mom died 9 years ago.
Oh, okay. So, yeah.
So she couldn't have.
Okay.
She couldn't.
Math doesn't add up. Yep.
Yeah. It doesn't add up.
No.
Crazy.
Okay. So, yeah, that throws my theory out. There goes my debunk.
Yeah. Maybe mom did put it in there.
Yes.
But she wasn't alive.
Because that could be the projection thing you were just talking about.
Yeah.
That could be.
Yeah. And the final story we have in this article is the missing remote. Angelina Fibers posted, we lost the remote control for the TV, searched and searched for it, had to give up and order a replacement. The delivery man knocked on the door. I went and got the parcel, which had the new remote in it. Went back into the living room. Original remote control was on the floor in the middle of the room. I had just left the room. I wasn't there when I left. I cannot explain it. Made the hairs stand up on the back of my neck. Again, could be an apportation deal.
Yes, I'm going with apportation. Yeah. I think it's a spirit having fun at her expense.
Exactly. I wanted to give you a light and airy story after all those crazy stories there, Bruiser. Okay. And so I figure light and airy. Let's talk about AI and the end of the world.
Talk about what?
Talk about AI and the end of the world.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, of course. Why not? Scientists have used a computer, of course. We got to bring this up if we're going to do this. To predict exactly when society would collapse. Back in the 1970s, scientists used computer modeling to predict when the fall of society would kick off, and according to their findings, you might not want to make any long-term plans.
Why? What is it supposed to end?
Scientists from the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, or MIT, looked at data patterns from a variety of different factors, such as population, natural resources, and energy usage, to find out when we'd experience full societal collapse. Time to strap it up here, folks. Here it is. The prediction made by the researchers was that this fall of society would hit the near midpoint of the 21st century, 2040 to be exact. You got 18 years, kids. That's it.
One thing I've learned from the Terminator movies, though, that can always change. Because remember, it was originally August 19th, 1996. But because of what they did to the Terminator and Skynet, it was pushed back a few years. And then it was pushed back again and pushed back again. So, you time travelers out there, push that back.
Well, however, at the time, the report wasn't taken too seriously and did attract some ridicule, according to The Guardian. But before you start to feel too smug, in 2009, a different team of researchers did a similar study, which was published by the American Scientist, concluded that the model's results were almost exactly on course for some 35 years later in 2008.
Oh, no.
So guess what? $35 plus 8 is 43. So they're pretty much on track.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah. Just saying.
It would have been scarier if the AI said, when they put it in, the AI came back with today.
Yeah, right? But that's not all, Bruiser. This is part 2, if you will.
Oh, no, there's more?
There's more, my friend. There's more. Let's do it again. If you're a farmer, you can't look forward to 2040 or 2043 because John Deere has unveiled its first tractorless or driverless tractor that can be controlled by farmers using a smartphone and even stops plowing if animals run in front of it. But that doesn't mean you can't get your nuts crushed. It's true. Farming equipment giant John Deere has unveiled its first self-driving tractor that can be controlled by farmers using a smartphone and run 24 hours a day. But eventually it might make a mistake.
Yeah. So the new Terminators are green and yellow.
That's right. They're Packers colors, my friend.
They are.
The firm revealed details of the adapted 8R tractor on the first day of the Consumer Electronics Show back in Las Vegas. Selected farmers in the U.S. have been testing the device since 2019, which is being touted as a means to feed the world and tackle staffing shortages. It comes with 6 pairs of cameras and artificial intelligence. I just have to put that in there when I say that. Allowing it to check its position to the inch. I don't know why I brought the music up when I said inch. And stop if it detects an animal or object in its path. As well as selling an adapted 8R, John Deere said the cameras and computers for automated tilling can be installed on an existing tractor in just one day, hence crushing your nuts. The company
do these AI tractors change the other AI with their calculations?
It's a good question.
Because they factored everything in on human probability, but now we have automated tractors. So
yeah, we do.
Would that change the formula?
I think it might. The company will deliver up to 20 machines this year, which with a scaled-up rollout in the coming years, but is yet to decide if a new kit will be sold directly, leased, or offered as a subscription, just to make more money. So there you go. So AI coming to the farm community. Farmers beware, you may get your nuts crushed. Just saying.
Update your farmers only profile. You have automated John Deere tractors.
Yeah. I only got 3 fingers on one hand, 2 on the other, and I'm missing a ball due to AI. But I'm still a good companion. FarmersOnly.com.
My crops are glorious.
My crops are glorious. And the bush is trimmed, if you know what I mean. Just 2 stories to go, and we're going to kind of scratch our heads analytically, if you will. Analytically? Is that the word I'm looking for here, Bruiser?
Yeah.
We're going to scratch our heads over the meaning of life before we leave you today. I know we probably should have left you on a hilarious note today, but here's the deal. We were talking earlier about looking out into space with the James Webb Telescope. We were talking about missing time while we were driving. Let's combine them a little bit. A billion years of times are mysteriously missing, or a billion years of time is mysteriously missing. Scientists think they know why.
Okay. Did somebody misplace it?
Exactly. It was lost in a wallet somewhere. Scientists can construct incredible details about bygone eras in Earth's history using fossils, rocks, and clues preserved in its crust, but sometimes the absence of geological records is just as telling as their presence. The Great Unconformity, which, by the way, is a Peanut special that'll be coming to your TV soon. It's the Great Unconformity, Charlie Brown, is a missing chunk of time that appears in rocks across the world. And it's the ultimate example of this phenomena. I got to do that, too.
Yeah.
The giant lapse in Earth's memory exceeds 1 billion years in some places, resulting in 550 million years old rocks sitting atop ancient layers that date back 1.7 billion years with no trace of the many lost epochs in between. For over a century, scientists have debated the cause of this immense geological blackout, which erased a huge chunk of the I never studied this era, by the way. I can't even say it. I don't know. You know that era? 2 main explanations have emerged, which are not mutually exclusive. One suggests that the tectonic activity associated with the assembly and breakup of the supercontinent Rodinia created the unconformity, while another points to erosion, widespread glaciation during our planet's snowball Earth phase some 700 million years ago. Now a team led by Kalen McDaniel a postdoctorate researcher in earth sciences at Dartmouth College, has presented new evidence that glaciers were the main force that carved out this mysterious gap in time. So glaciers, Bruiser, glaciers are the reason why we can't match up the Earth's crust and the other rock layers to put these two time eras together and figure out the age of the Earth.
So glaciers is basically erased billions of years.
Exactly. The researchers discovered a strong cooling signal at four very different geological locations across North America, suggesting that continental scale glaciation may be the only foreseeable process that can account for both the formation and preservation of the Great Unconformity, according to a study published this past week in the Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences. Something really unique was going on in terms of global geodynamics and surface processes that allowed the Great Unconformity to both form and then be preserved, said McDaniel in a joint call with C. Brennan Keller, assistant professor of earth sciences at Dartmouth and a co-author of the study. That's my perspective, he said, on why this has captured people's imaginations. Previous study on this massive gap of time have found evidence of tectonic erosion at sites such as Pikes Peak in Colorado and the Ozark Plateau in Missouri, which were near Rodinia's active fault lines in 700 million years ago. Easy for me to say. In their study, McDaniel's team widened the scope from these regions to include rocks from East Lake Athabasca in Saskatchewan, Canada, and the Minnesota River Valley, both of which were far from any tectonic activity during this ancient era. The team analyzed published thermochronology data from these diverse regions and discovered signs of synchronous rock cooling, which, by the way, is a new Olympic sport you'll be seeing this winter. That is associated with glacial erosion. While tectonic activity could have contributed to the Great Unconformity in certain areas, McDaniel and his colleagues concluded that glaciation is the only process that could have bulldozed miles of geological strata away in so many different regions. Kind of interesting that that's the theory. That we're missing.
I can see it, though, because when a glacier comes, it's moving all that rock and stuff with it.
Yep.
The glacier is basically erasing Earth's browser history.
That's a good way of putting it.
That's how it is.
Yep. Erasing the browser history. And with that, scientists are now saying that a mysterious X particle could help explain the birth of reality, which is kind of interesting. Yeah. So scientists have achieved breakthrough detections of an elusive particle from the dawn of time at the Large Hadron Collider. Now, years ago, I was saying, Bruiser, that the Hadron Collider was going to be the death of us all. So they're basically smashing atoms over there across the pond, and eventually they're going to smash so many atoms and they're going to leak out that we're all going to die.
Yeah, I can see that. Isn't the Hadron Collider the reason that we have the Mandela effect? Didn't something happen with it, and that's how the Mandela effect happened? That's a theory out there, and that's why the dimensions are joining and all that. Isn't that right? Or am I way off base there?
I've never read that theory, but I'm thinking I should read that theory.
Yeah, I want to say I have to go back and look in it's been so long. Delirious is really into that kind of stuff, and he's the one that told me about the Hadron. He's like, have you heard of this? I said, no. And he said the same thing you said. That's going to be the end of all of us.
Wow.
And he said that something happens, a leak or something, and that's what's causing the Mandela effect.
Really?
So, yeah, look into it. I want to say that's what it is.
Okay, well, I'm going to look into it then. So for our last story, in a breakthrough that opens a window into the birth of the universe, scientists have detected elusive X particles in the otherworldly aftermath of high-energy collisions at the Large Hadron Collider, the LHC, the most powerful particle accelerator on Earth. These short-lived particles, which are called X because their internal structure is unknown, existed in the chaotic microseconds after the Big Bang, when the universe was filled with a churning subatomic soup called quark-gluon plasma. They are, however, exceedingly rare in the modern universe, leaving many of their properties shrouded in mystery. That's why scientists are so thrilled to have recorded the decays of about 100 of these X particles using the compact muon solenoid, a particle detector at LHC. The result provides a unique experiment input to the theoretical models of X particle production and of the nature of this exotic state, according to a new study published in Physical Review Letters. A particle or X particles were initially detected in a 2003 experiment, but they decayed too quickly to be analyzed in detail. The new discovery marks the first time that they have been captured inside quark gluon plasma, enabling scientists to own in some of the properties that they have so far evaded characterization. The discovery of X particles in quark gluon plasma is very difficult and new, said Yenji Lee, who is the class of 1958 Career Development Associate Professor of Physics at MIT and lead author of the new study. First of all, he says, quark gluon plasma produces tens of thousands of particles, he noted, which is orders of magnitude more than the 2003 experiment recorded by the Bell detector in Japan's KEKB facility, which produced decay signatures from a few X particles. In addition, the experiment done at CMS with relativistic heavy ion collisions is much more similar to how nature produces those X particles in the early universe. For this reason, the CMS technique has opened up a new way to probe the structure and behavior of these particles in unprecedented detail, which will help shed light on the murky beginnings of the cosmos. Now, both these experiments generated X particles by smashing tiny bits of matter together at high speeds, a process that creates a stew of weird subatomic particles that are difficult to observe in other environments. For instance, the CMS experiment monitored the fallout of billions of collisions between lead ions, which created the bizarre quark gluon plasma. What does this all mean, you may say, Tim? Why do you keep reading this story? Why are my eyelids getting heavy? Well, this is basically what they believe are the beginning parts of the universe. And they believe that these little X particles may be the beginnings of a type of environment that existed in those searing and turbulent moments after the Big Bang, or the beginnings of our universe.
Sounds like an origin story for a superhero or a supervillain.
It really does, doesn't it?
Like, it's crazy. Like, I don't know enough about them, but it just sounds like the beginnings of a superhero or supervillain.
So when that James Webb telescope points out to the edge of the universe, are you ready
it's going to catch all these X particles.
That's what they're looking for. They're going to start to look for these gluon plasma particles. And if they capture them, then they know they're onto something. They know that they're seeing the edge of the universe.
That's the end of space, essentially.
Yeah.
That's the beginning.
Yeah.
I'm curious how many years it's going to be before they are able to find out what's inside these, because they say they decay so fast. You know, they're working on a way to catch it, to check and see what's inside the X particle.
Yeah, exactly. If they can catch it and map it. Scary enough. And this is what's so scary about it, is you could actually, I mean, by theory, and this is only theory alone, you could take that particle and try to create your own universe within a universe, or a pocket universe within a universe. That's
scary power for someone to have.
Yeah.
I mean, think about that. If you could run, you could create your own universe. That's scary to think of.
But in that too, if you believe in the theory that the Earth is dying, you could create your own Goldilocks planet to transfer everybody to.
That's true too. You could say the planet would never die then, instead of looking for other planets, because that's what they're doing with all the missions to Mars and all these missions, these planets, is they're looking for places that humans can go to when Earth dies. If they find out they can replicate these X things, they don't have to go look out of space anymore. They can now have it right here.
You could create it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting stuff.
It is. That, now that you put it that way, it's not as scary. Now it's a little more interesting. Like, okay, I'm going to keep my eye on that one.
Yeah. It's an interesting story, that's for sure. And we'll keep our eye on that as well. I want to remind you one more time that, you can email us in your Parashare stories. We want them, folks. We want your Parashare stories. We want to air them here on the show. We want to be able to weigh in on them, both Bruiser and I. You can do that by emailing me at tim@darknessradio.com. And you can also call us, 651-300-4977, 651-300-4977. Bruiser, I got to know, where will you be in the next few weeks to display your underwater needlepoint, professional underwater needlepoint skills, if you will?
February 12th, I'm going to Rockford, Illinois.
Mm-hmm.
February 25th, I'm up in Green Bay, Wisconsin.
Okay.
Then the February 26th, I'm flying out to Paulsboro, New Jersey to do my needlepoint at the Monster Factory. I'm very excited about that. And then February 27th, I'm right back here in Milwaukee at the historic Turner Hall Ballroom. One of my favorite venues to needlepoint in. Its pool is fantastic.
Is it?
Yes. And it is by far top 5 buildings I've needlepointed in.
Nice.
Yeah. I'm very excited to make my return to that pool.
And of course, if people want to check you out or book you, they can go to where?
At BCB Winchester on Twitter. On Facebook, I'm the Beer City Bruiser. Instagram, Beer City Bruiser. I'm on Cameo. So just look up Beer City Bruiser on Cameo. And then ProWrestlingTees.com/Beer City Bruiser. I just released 2 brand new t-shirts that I'm really excited about and really happy that they're up there and they're doing really well for me. So if I can't see you at a show, go there. And I respond to pretty much everything online. A lot of interaction with fans on Twitter, Facebook.
Right.
It's great.
And of course, I'm expecting any day now on ProWrestlingTees.com a professional underwater needle pointer t-shirt.
I will hit up my graphic designer and see what he can come up.
And you realize that the initials for professional underwater needle pointer are what?
Professional, PUN.
Okay. PUN is a...
Yeah, okay, yeah, you're right.
It's a pun.
It's a pun. You got me, Tim.
There you go. We've unlocked the secret. I always speak in code. That'll do it for this week, folks. We appreciate you tuning in to another episode of Darkness Radio. We do appreciate you listening, folks, and we do cherish the fact that you spend your week with us and that you spend your precious time with us. And that's not being facetious. We are having a little fun with you here on Wednesday. Tomorrow, we've got a huge show. We've got, from the former iteration of Ghost Hunters, we've got Brandon Elvis and Mustafa Gadalari. They have a brand new book out called Elements of a Haunting. And we're going to be talking about that book. And I'll tell you, this book has some interesting stuff in it, including a brand new classification system for hauntings and for ghosts. So we'll talk about that. That'll be tomorrow right here in the best in paranormal podcasting, Darkness Radio. For Beer City Bruiser, I'm Tim Dennis. Join us again tomorrow for Darkness Radio.